Industry safety. So the shipping lines went together and created what was called the COA, Container Owners Association, because they wanted to make sure that they could protect their containers, they could protect what happened on the ships when these flexi tanks were moving on their vessels. Because when you put 24,000 liters in a big bag inside of a container, it puts tremendous pressure on the container walls. So sometimes the wineries, you might actually receive cargo coming in from Latin America and it kind of bulges out. So the container walls are pushed out. So the shipping line wanted to make sure that they could protect themselves. So in 2008, they launched a dedicated flexi tank division who were going to take a look at how do we protect this? How do we make sure that our containers are not broken? How do we make sure that it's not leaking? So this is not just the wine. This is also in the industrial business where they're transporting drilling oil and all kinds of different things. So Hillebrand has actually played a key role in this together with a couple of the other guys that are producing a lot of flexi tanks. So we were involved with the shipping lines, helping them to guide towards controlling the flexi tanks that go in here. So today you see you have 65 flexi tank companies that are approved, which means if you're not approved by the COA to move flexi tanks, then they won't put the container on the vessel. So in January 2009, they did a flexi tank code of practice, and then in September 2016, they had what they call the PAS 1008. So we're going to talk about these in just a second. Oh, that's right here. So flexi tank code of practice means how do we actually manage the process of loading flexi tanks. So they came up with a manual that told us, okay, this is what you need to do to manage a proper flexi tank shipment, which is how do you select the container, how do you actually mark the containers, how do you manage your incidents. So it came all the way down to how do we, as a logistics provider, manage our depots that also fit the containers with these flexi tanks. So when we receive a container, we make sure that it's only 5 years old, because we don't want to have old containers because there's a bigger risk of the walls breaking, et cetera, et cetera. We also check it for, is there any nails in the ground? Is there any metal sticking out on the walls? And then we patch it up. We take the nails out, we clean it, and then we prepare it for shipment. So a flexi tank shipment is not just a flexi tank. There's a whole process behind it where we need to make sure that we prepare it well. So when it comes to the winery, you just fill it up and off it goes, right? Incident management, insurance, we control the flexi tank all the way to the final destination. If there is a problem with the product when it arrives, we know that this flexi tank was made of this and this material that came from this and this batch from the polyethylene factory in China. And if this flexi tank had an issue, maybe there's also an issue with some of the other batches, and then we take a look at it. So there is a really, really strong compliance process behind the scenes of a flexi tank. The PAS 1008 is exactly compliance on production of a flexi tank. So how do you control the production of it? So we've seen a lot of these type of products come into market, but it's they have a lot of issues. So the shipping lines don't want to have leakage of all kinds of products on their ships because depending on the type of product, they might have to go into port en route and get it all cleaned up. So it has been a really big topic in the industry. You can see in the containers some of this key information. You can see in the container how old it is. So this is actually done manually in the port when we pick them up.